Manchester United have got one of the most wasteful wage bills in the Premier League. But exactly how much do the likes of Shaw, Rashford, Sancho, Casemiro, Antony and others actually earn? Let's explore the data thanks to a fantastic article by Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, which offers real insight into one of INEOS' biggest jobs when it comes to the United squad, fixing that wage bill. When it comes to looking at Manchester United and what INEOS have done, there's a lot of ugliness with all the cuts, with the redundancies. And a big thing that we still haven't really had that much information on is the wage structure. What are the players on? We already know that we can speculate, but Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic has given a lot more insight and detail on this. I'm going to run through a lot of information in this video that I think is important that you should listen to, take in, because look, I don't know whether this is INEOS' biggest job, but it's the job that's going to make the biggest difference to the bottom line, all right? Because Man United's financial problems, I don't need to explain to you all the financial problems, how much money has been wasted at this football club. And waste is the big word that I'm going to use. Big word, it's not that big a word, it's only 5 layers. But it's the main word. Because when it comes to United's wage structure, all right, there's 2 important graphs that The Athletic released today. Number 1 is this, right? Manchester United have got the 3rd highest wage bill in the Premier League, relative to the size of Manchester United. That's not outrageous at all, and it's even slightly less outrageous when you look at this. Compared to the turnover, we have the 3rd smallest wage structure. So it's not the fact that our wage bill is crazy. We're paying like insane amounts of money that's not really relative to how much we earn as a business. It's the fact that we are wasting. We have the 3rd highest, and we are 13th in the league. And let me run through some numbers here, okay? Some important wages and lots of different players. Because when it comes to wages, there's been a lot of speculation about how much people are on, how much players are on. Now we've got some key info, all right? And some actual facts. And you can see down there, all the wages that you'll see in this video, none of them have the 25% wage reduction that comes in when United aren't in the Champions League. So all the figures you see take 25% off, and that's what those players are earning this season. But next season, if we get in the Champions League, for example, we win the Europa League, they all bump up to these figures. And first on this list, if you're talking about wastage, I think Luke Shaw's going to be held up as unfortunately for him, the example of what we can't do. Like when he got that contract, there were always concerns about his availability, and that was before he put pen to paper on a deal worth 200 grand a week plus bonuses. It's not Captain Hindsight. It goes, oh, Luke Shaw's been injured. Yeah, that was the case before that bumper contract. Of course, that was when Luke Shaw was flying and he was in the England squad. And was that the season where he scored in the final for England? I can't remember. Either way, it's an expensive lesson that's been learned. And look at this one, right? Laurie confirming that Marcus Rashford and this contract that he signed, if it's up to, I'm not saying it was 400k, but it's up to 400k. So say if United, I imagine if United won the league or United won the double or stuff like that, 400, up to 400 grand a week, including bonuses. Now, right now, United are paying nearly 100 grand a week to Aston Villa for Marcus Rashford not to play for our club. And Jadon Sancho, we're paying 125 grand a week. So we're paying nearly £250,000 a week, ladies and gents, for Rashford and Antony to play, so Rashford and Sancho to play for 2 other Premier League clubs. That is the definition of waste. And Sancho, look, is this Captain Hindsight coming through? I said this in the last show. I don't quite know. Because when we signed him as a 21-year-old, I was buzzing beyond belief. I thought him and that Solskjaer team, it just felt right. Was giving a 21-year-old 250 grand a week a mistake? I mean, yes. I'm not even sure that's Captain Hindsight speaking. That's just, if you give a 21-year-old, that's the end game wage. That's what Fernandes is on, for example. If you give them the end game wage and they're 21, then what's the point in the next 7 years of their career? They've already reached the top table as far as wages are concerned. So they're not going to have that drive to want more. Sancho. These numbers are crazy. These numbers really are horrible. Casemiro is on 350 grand a week. And we signed him as a 30-year-old from Real Madrid. And again, I mentioned this in the last show. Under Fergie, we used to give anybody who's over 30 one-year contract extensions so they would fight for their chance to be a United player the year after. And Casemiro's on 350 grand a week. Of course, that dropped by 25% this season, but 350. Mason Mount is on £200,000 a week. And the list just keeps going on, right? Fernandes being on 250 is the only one on that list I look at and go, yep, fair. Relative to his position and his importance to the squad. Now, you might say that when Rashford signed that contract, that's where Rashford was. But Fernandes, at the age that he is, that's his... Rashford was a lot. Maguire on 190. I'm not too offended by that one. I don't think. But I suppose in terms of the expectations versus reality of what it's been with Maguire, it's not quite lived up to what we thought it was going to be. Onana is on similar wages to Maguire. You go down here. Antony's on 105 grand, which is less than what I thought it was. Real Betis are paying 86% of that as well. So we're not losing out in comparison to the Rashford and the Sancho situations. You go down there. This is probably the most important wage on the list. Patrick Dorgu is there at 40 grand. That is what United are now working towards, right? Barada, Wilcox, Vivell, the new structure. You point towards the fact that we have signed a player. We haven't plucked him from obscurity. He played in Serie A, one of the top 5 leagues. He's a Danish international, full Danish international. And Dorgu was joined on 40 grand a week, sorry. That's an indicator of the wage structure we are shifting towards. All right, of course, it can't really be compared to signing Sancho, who was in a team that had Haaland and Bellingham and was like the talk of the town, the absolute, as far as people were concerned, the Diamond England talent, one of the Diamond England talents at that point in time, and Dorgu's different. But 40 grand for a player who comes in and is your starting left wing back, that is something to sort of point towards for the future in terms of how much other players can conceivably ask for. Mainu's on 25 grand a week with bonuses that have been added in, but we don't quite know what those are. So, for example, if there was an FA Cup bonus and he earned a bit more, and that's why 25 grand, if he's asking for wage increase, which he is, then 100 including bonuses seems totally fair compared to that. Garnacho, 50 grand a week. I imagine the same conversations are going to exist with Garnacho. Ahmad, we don't actually know how much he's on. And it's a shame because I thought the Ahmad one would have been a real sort of eye-opener of, again, what we're looking towards with the wage structure. But this is just like, the waste here is insane. And that's why Ratcliffe, when he was speaking about, I'll go back up to the top. When Ratcliffe was speaking about the squad that Amorim has got, and if you look at the players who are available to him and the fact that so many of his top earners, Shaw hasn't really kicked the ball for us this week. Rashford, of course, isn't in the squad. Sancho's on loan. Casemiro has been kind of a shadow of himself, been in some good form in the last couple of months, but compared to what Casemiro was when he came in, he's not there. Mason Mount's been missing the whole season. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players who are north of 200 grand a week, some north of 300, who aren't impacting the first team in the way that they should be for those sizes of wages. That's why getting this wage structure in place. And as I said, brilliant article. I'll leave the link in the description. You can read some more info on that. The problem at United for a long time has not been the money that's been spent. It's been how responsibly that money has been spent. Who has been in charge of it? Wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision has forced United into this situation. And the thing that is going to change this club is not redundancies. It's not changing food menus at the canteen. It's not even credit card cuts for the senior staff. It's getting your recruitment right and restructuring that wage bill and stopping wasting so much money. You never know what you think in the comments.